So the next speaker is something that I'm very excited to listen to his talk. The talk is called Unlocking Singularity, or a glimpse of what's going to happen next. So we're going to get a glimpse into the future of what's going to happen next from someone that has been doing this for quite so many years. He's been the founder of a very well-known company in the security industry called Aladdin Knowledge Systems that was sold in 2009 after 23 years of running the company to SafeNet. He's pretty much into space, so he's a president, he's a chairman at Space IL, and he's also a member and an investor at the Space Angel Network in Israel. So please help me welcome Yanki on the stage, please.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to talk about the future. You know, it's easy to talk about the future because you can make so many statements, nobody can check you. So I'm going to talk about the late-end future. Let me start by saying that I don't try to predict the future. There's no way for me to predict the future. I'm really much more interested in the present. So let me find the button, and we'll take it from here. Go. OK, this is me. I built companies. I sold companies. I invest in companies. I was a DJ for a while. This is what I'm really proud of. And these days, by the way, I'm helping an Israeli team to build a spaceship to go to the moon. We have good news today. Today, we have announced our launch date for the spaceship. By the end of 2017, we plan to send a robot to the moon to take pictures, so we are very proud of that. But let's go to talk about the future. Allow me to start with two myths, okay? Two myths that I somehow believe that most of us share. Myth number one is that life is cyclic. People tend to believe that things go in cycles. Things go up and down, things go in cycle. I truly disbelieve, I don't believe in this cyclic way of looking at the universe. I don't think that life is a cycle. I think that what we are experiencing, especially today, is a clear arrow. There is progress, there is change, and we live in very interesting times. We live in times of significant change, fast change. Humankind is changing. Mankind is changing. We build startups here. We invest in startups here. We do with technology all around us. But I think that sometimes we have to wake up and look at the full picture. And I'm going to show you that life is not a cycle, that things are happening. Things are changing. Mankind is changing. And I'm going to show you that technology has a very strong part in this change. Many of us, and this is the second myth, many of us still believe that technology is like a hammer. Technology is something that we have created. We hold it in our hands. We use it. We own it. We invented it. And we are smarter than the hammer. Guys, wake up. We have created something which is becoming larger than us. And this is great news. I'm going to share the news with you. But let's embrace technology as it is today. Technology is alive. Technology is thinking. Technology is cognitive. Technology is connecting everybody around us. It's not a hammer anymore. Don't be misguided by the concept of holding a tool in your hand and using it. The most stupid statement I hear from people is that computers will never be smarter than the programmers that have developed them. Guys, nonsense. We raise kids, and we want our kids to be smarter than us. We raise computers, we write software. The software and the computer eventually will become smarter than us. But I'd like to make a twist here. I'm not a doom guy. I don't think that software will overcome mankind. I think the future is different. What we're going to see is an integration. Mankind is changing. Technology is becoming part of who we are. Our kids are going to be combined. I am combined. I have in my pocket, I have part of me. This is part of me. It's in my pocket. Part of my memories, part of my stories, part of my communications. It's in my pocket. It will be connected stronger and stronger to me, and it will be connected stronger and stronger to our kids. Our kids will be an integrated thing of technology, electronics, computers, and mankind. So let's try and look at that future. So now let's go forward. Perfect. What I'm trying to give you today is the feeling that there is a clear arrow of time, a clear arrow of progress, a clear arrow of change, and tech has a very significant part in our next junction. So let's embrace it, and let's remain optimistic about the future, because it's very easy now to fall back and say, wow, computers and robots will overrun mankind. No, I'm an optimistic guy. I will show you that in a second. I want you to use your imagination. Okay, let's do a short imagination exercise. I want to show you a product. This is a product. It's a telepresence robot. If you are tired going to meetings and to sit in meetings and to write notes, in the future we'll be able, today you can send somebody to represent you in meetings. This is telepresence robot version number 1.0. Now use your imagination. Think about this telepresence robot. He can write notes, he can take video, he can do many things. And I want you to imagine version 7.0 of the same product. Can you imagine that? Can you do the exercise and imagine the next generation of our telepresence robot? Well, I used my imagination, and this is what I have in mind. And this is not a joke. We are going in this direction. We are going in the direction of creating much more intelligent, much more man-looking, woman-looking, mankind-looking technology that will be integrated with whatever we are doing. I see two big avenues that actually take us from the present to the future. Avenue number one is electronics, artificial intelligence, big data. We are making a lot of progress in creating smarter and smarter machines, smarter and smarter software, to use more and more big data, to reach more and more conclusions, to analyze more data, and to do it more in a smart way. But this is just avenue number one to the future. Let me share with you avenue number two. And avenue number two is much more interesting. And we don't talk a lot about it. It's the biology of our own species. It's the biology itself. In the last 10 years, we have been able to understand better and better and better another computer, not just the electronic computer, but also the biological computer. We understand better now our DNA. We understand better our neurons. We understand it better and better. Not just that we can read the information, today we can more and more write the information. We can engineer life. We can create life, engineer life. I'm not sure that many of us have really understood the significance of the change which is happening right now in our ability to engineer life, program life. So if you look at the future, I would suggest that it's a combination. It's a combination of our biological inheritance plus the electronics that we have developed. Something is going to come out of that. So I'd like you to answer that question. What is the end game? Where are we going to? What is the future of mankind? I mean, yes, we have iPhone number 7 and iPhone number 6 and iPhone number 8 and 10 and whatever, and we make all those new wonderful applications. But let's think about the big picture. What's the end game? Where are we going to? There is a statement made by Craig Venter, which I really find amazing. And Craig Venter has said that the digital and the biological worlds are becoming interchangeable. Interchangeable is a very strong word. It's not just connected, it's interchangeable. Part of your mind is going to run on a computer. Part of the computer will run on your mind. We will use the electronic platform and the biological platform and interchange them to get results. We will be combined. And I think that this is not the very long-term future. This is happening just in front of us, in front of our eyes. Are we ready for that change? Are we ready for the creation of what I call Homo sapiens 2.0? Because the way I feel it, we are about to create Homo sapiens 2.0. And you know what's so important about Homo sapiens 2.0? What is so I think that not everybody will become an Homo sapiens 2.0. This is not the way evolution is working. It's not that one day we will wake up in the morning and we will find ourselves that mankind has transformed to a new Homo sapiens 2.0. But some of us will divert. And I think this is the greatest challenge of our generation, of your generation. The greatest challenge is to make sure that as many people will reach the future. As many people will be able to enjoy from the metamorphosis, from whatever change is happening right now, and the creation of Homo sapiens 2.0. Allow me now quickly to go into the present. I'm not going to talk about the future for a while. I'm not going to talk about the future. I want to share with you quickly the current state of technology, the current state of what is happening right now in the field, in laboratories, so that we can have a feeling of this big change which is happening upon us. So let's start quickly with stories that I'm sure that most of them you know already. Let's start with robots, okay? Robots, my favorite robots. On the left-hand side, we see Curiosity now on Mars, preparing the first settlements of mankind on Mars. In a few dozens of years, we will see people on Mars. We will live on Mars. On the left side, on the bottom left side, you see a swarm of robots. Robots will not come one by one. Robots will be connected. Robots will create, for me, it reminds like bees all working together to create common intelligence of many robots together. On the right upper side, you see X-47B. This is a frightening robot. This is the next generation of a fighter, of an air combat fighter. What is unique about X-47B is the fact that you cannot put a carbon-based creature, a carbon-based pilot in the cockpit. There's no place for a pilot anymore. So we are creating the next level of technology, the one which needs less and less people. And by the way, I have some good news to break to you right now. Soon, nobody will have a work. Nobody will have a job. And this is great news, because think about it. What are we doing with all this development and whatever, all this progress? What we are doing is that we are replacing man muscle, man brain. We are replacing it with superior technology, superior products, or whatever. So pilots will be redundant pretty soon, modern pilots. All of us will be redundant. And one of the greatest challenges of us, the next generation, is what is the meaning of life? Why are we here? What do we want to do? What do we do with our spare time? How do we use our time? What is life? Because work is not going to be the meaning of life in the next generation. We don't need workers anymore. We'll have robots and software, etc. On the bottom part, on the right side, you see also a next generation of robots. I will not be able to give a lot of information about those robots right now. You can approach me after my talk. But for those of you who are really interested, I can tell you that the female robot over there has 3 engines. I cannot add any more right now. And the male robot over there has only 1 engine. And now a serious comment here. We are going to see marriage, relationships, whatever you want to assume between men, people, and robots. I would suggest in the near future. It's part of the future. We can see it already. So, robots is just entry number 1. Let's talk about artificial intelligence. I'm sure that everybody here has heard about Watson, the next generation, whatever artificial intelligence software computer made by IBM. What is extremely interesting about Watson is that what it is going to do next, because Watson, I assume that you already heard about it, has won the World Jeopardy, the World Who Wants to Be a Millionaire competition just a couple of years ago. But next, Watson is going to be your medical doctor. And next, Watson is going to be your advisor. And next, Watson is going to replace lots of our intellectual mental capacities that we have right now. Allow me to give you a prediction. In 15 to 20 years, you will not dare to go to consult a carbon-based medical doctor. Our medical doctors, like our pilots, like everybody else almost, is going to be a computer or a software piece. What is even more interesting about artificial intelligence and the next generation of artificial intelligence is the fact that we are going to see it everywhere. Our kids are going to hold Barbie dolls who have the capability to land a spaceship on the moon. Each Barbie doll, in a few years, will have more computing power than the Apollo 11 computing power that was needed to land on the moon. Why do you need computing power much more than Apollo 11 in a Barbie doll? You need it because the Barbie doll is going to be extremely intelligent. It's going to have AI capabilities. It's going to have personality. And not just our Barbie dolls and everything around us is going to be computerized, and not just computerized, but with high artificial intelligence and high abilities to make decisions or to do other things. We talked about robots, we talked about artificial intelligence. Let's talk about 3D printing. 3D printing is completely changing whatever we know about reality today. We can print today food, organs. We can print in 350 different materials. We can print engines. When we go to Mars, when we go to settle Mars, it's going to be extremely expensive to send breakfast from Earth to Mars. We will not send our breakfast from Earth to Mars. We will print our breakfasts on Mars. We will print everything. The whole idea of going to shopping, for example, going to shopping today is I go to the shop, I buy, I come back. Shopping in the future is I sit at my house, I download, and I print. I print whatever I want. So the whole concept of reality is changing. We are going to print buildings and bridges and organs and human organs. The whole concept of what is reality is changing because we are able now to print reality. By the way, this is a simulation of a house printed from ice on Mars. One of the ideas is to melt water on Mars and to use it to build houses on Mars for the settlements to come in the next dozens of years. Let's talk about transportation. Transportation is changing completely. We are going to see more and more autonomous cars. Let me give you a prediction. Within 15 years, nobody will be really driving a car here. You know why we will not be driving cars? Because we are really bad at driving cars. We are murdering over 1 million people every year in car accidents, 1.2 million people a year. So computers, software, robots will drive our cars. So we will see autonomous cars, we will see flying cars, we will see drones, we will see fast cars. And this is not real, long-term future. This is happening just in our own generation, in front of our eyes. This is a truck that just a couple of days ago was announced by Mercedes-Benz, and this is an autonomous car driving in Europe right now, no driver. We will not need drivers pretty soon. We will not need drivers, we will not need pilots, we will not need doctors, we will not need people to work. So wake up and just think about it. What do we really want to do? Because work is not an option anymore, at least pretty soon. Energy is completely changing around us. I believe that energy is the real coin, the real basis of all economy in the world is energy. And things are changing pretty quickly here. Not only that we learn to produce more and more clean, cheap energy from the sun, from other places. We know how to produce this energy. We learn better and better how to store that energy in better and better batteries. Once we solve the battery issue, we, on the one hand, can generate cheap, clean energy and then store it properly, and we have solved the energy problem. The universe is full of energy. We don't lack energy. Every atom, the sun, look around you, it's full of energy. All we need is the engineering abilities to capture that energy, store that energy, and use it properly. And we are doing it. Now, think about a world in which the energy is clean and almost free. Free and clean energy. If energy is free, then what else is free? Actually, everything. Energy is free, water is free, food is free, abundance is around us. We are going to solve all these major issues, and I believe that it's going to take us a few dozens of years that we will reach the state of the ability of, clean, free, abundant energy and abundance in general. Let's talk about food. Food is completely changing around us. Two significant issues here. One, we're going to see more and more food with the purpose to change our mind. Food is not just to eat when you're hungry, but food is something that you want to consume to create and change your state of mind. So I believe that we're going to see more and more types of food, like coffee or other drugs that are going to be mind changers. We're going to see more and more artificial foods. If you look at the steak, just on the left bottom side over there, this is a very expensive piece of meat. It's about 250,000 euros for that, and it's not so tasty, to be honest with you. But I believe that in a few years, we are going to have extremely low cost, very tasty artificial meat in our hands. And again, the whole food industry is going to change as we are able to produce clean, healthy, new type of foods, which are also not so expensive. But let's look at the most important and the most amazing part of the change which is happening around us. Because computers and robots and 3D printers and even food, it's all external. But the big revolution is happening with life itself. We are reinventing, recreating, re-engineering life itself. We are actually combining chemicals and create new organisms that have not lived before. We are programming DNA. We are changing DNA. We are exploring our minds more and more. And I believe that those changes are going to be extremely significant for our future. Let's look at the small robots, small biological robots, computers on the right bottom side. Those are small computers, biological computers. I can give you a teaspoon of water, and within this teaspoon of water, you will have 3 million small computers that you will swallow, and those computers will be working inside your body. Think about it. I mean, in a way, we will not be connected to the internet just through the internet. We will be connected to the internet through our bodies. We will be connected to the internet from within our cells. We will use computers inside our bodies. True, these are small computers. True, they're not very powerful. This is just the beginning. But we see more and more research and products coming with such computers. So we are creating life. We are engineering life. We are building computers to be integrated inside our bodies. We are changing mankind. So again, I'd like to make a small pause here and ask you the question: where are we going? What's the future? I mean, many of you here in this audience, you deal with technology, you deal with startups, you invest in startups, you develop startups, you deal with software, but what is the end result? Where are we going to? And I think that too less we use this opportunity to stop for a second and contemplate what is the future to look like once we develop all that technology that we have shared here. Ray Kurzweil is saying that if you take the current way things are going, Ray predicts that by the year 2045, we will reach a singularity point in which computers, artificial intelligence, will be much more intelligent than mankind, to a point that we may reach immortality, to a point that we may reach something that we cannot predict right now. Honestly, I'm not standing here today to tell you that we are going to reach immortality in a few dozens of years. I don't think that we are going to reach immortality in a few dozens of years. But I definitely believe that our kids will be living much longer. that we will conquer more and more diseases. We will conquer, we will develop medicine more and more, and our kids will be happier, and our kids will live longer, and it will not be totally unpredictable that our kids will be able to live for 150 or 200 years. I think that we are going in this direction. We should be ready for that direction of living much longer life. I believe that 80 is the new 20. The idea is not just to extend life. The idea is not just to make sure that we live longer and longer and longer. The idea is to make sure that we live better life, healthier life, and therefore 80 is becoming the new 20. Allow me just to summarize my talk right now. I went a bit too long, and I'd like to actually jump with you to the last slide of my presentation. And actually, let me tell you that I somehow portrayed a very optimistic picture, but there are problems, there are issues, there are risks, and we should be careful, and we should be looking at the risk. And I draw here three major concerns, my personal concerns. The first one is social gaps. The second one is abused Earth. The third one is tech itself goes wrong. I will not be able to extend on that right now, but we have challenges. Social challenges, technological challenges, Earth challenges. We have to look at those challenges and be aware of the change. So quickly, I really have to cut it short a bit. Let me go to my last slide. And my last slide is that if we really want to continue and think about the next generation, and really want to think about our kids, we have to make sure that three things are continuing to happen. One, we continue tech innovation. We continue innovation, invention, and whatever is happening over here. But at the same time, we must invest much more in eco-innovation and in social innovation, because otherwise, mankind, as mankind, will not sustain the change. Not all of us will reach the future. And we have a responsibility to make sure that as many of us can reach the future. So I'd like to thank you for your attention, and let's make the cake bigger. Let's make sure that we distribute the cake in a better way, and let's eat a bit less. Technical innovation, social innovation, and eco-innovation, I believe that these are the three real solutions to the future of mankind. Thank you very much.